Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Welcome to episode 44. We are in season 2. We are, of course, the TwoBobsCast. I am Mr. H. I am here as always with my podcast partner, the esteemed, or just steamed, shaken, never stirred.
Hey,
The Herd.
I was steamed last week, especially with our clown comments.
Like clams. We got our first hateful comment. I was beyond thrilled. You don't know how much that excited me.
It was awesome. We definitely
so
talked about that. It was great.
We talked about it for 2 days. Last week, if you weren't here, which our usual 2 suspects are here, but Brian S. and John Novak, but I think that might have been it. There were some other people that were here that didn't comment, but if you weren't here, we did Bon Jovi, and it was a struggle for us to get through Bon Jovi, the
second half
albums, especially the second half of their catalog. We only reviewed 12 of their albums. It ended up being the most viewed podcast we've had yet, at now 95 views and counting. It passed Avenged Sevenfold for second place, which is at 94 still. So, and Metallica's up there. There's a couple other ones up there, but man, I can't believe that was the highest rated podcast. And we got a couple comments, and Jim Noonan, I'm going to shout you out. Hopefully you're listening tonight too. Jim Noonan said, we both, I pretty much trashed the album These Days by Bon Jovi, and he didn't like that, and he felt that was easily one of their most underrated albums. So by far, I'm like, if it's by far and one of their most, it can't be by far. Anyway, so I digress. But he said, "What are these 2 clowns now?" I'm like, yes, we've got a hater comment. It was awesome. So very excited about that. But we're not here to talk about Bon Jovi this week. We are on the letter C now. No longer on the letter B. Letter B is done. It's in our rear view. We won't be doing that again for quite a while. We're on the letter C, and we are doing Coheed and Cambria.
Both of them. Both Coheed and or Cambria.
Coheed and Cambria. Not just one, but both.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I am going to let my esteemed colleague and big fan of theirs introduce them, and that's why I did the intro to the podcast, because I am new to Coheed and Cambria. I've never been a big fan of theirs. But I looked at it as like a journey. So I documented from album 1 to album 11. I documented it as a journey, which I thought was fun. So I will comment it as such. I haven't listened to any of these albums in total until this week. So this will be very interesting. There was a couple of songs, but only a couple that I'm like, I recognize this one. I know I've heard this one before. And then there was, there was like maybe 3. That was it out of their whole catalog. So I just have never been a big fan, and I went through their whole catalog. So why don't you tell us about Coheed and Cambria?
Absolutely. Yeah, like you mentioned, I do like these type of podcasts, even though I do want you to have some interest. Again, I feel like sometimes when I pull my bands into these, I don't want to, bore you to death with this stuff, because it's hard. Again, I've lived right. I've lived with these albums for a long time. So to me, I love this, and it's really, really hard to go through these and listen to it once and then decide which ones you like the best and which ones you like the worst. But
definitely some of the stuff we do is definitely will grow on you the more you listen to it. And I have commented that there are a couple of these that I will definitely come back to because I was pleasantly surprised.
Great.
So,
Okay. Well, that's good. So I guess that's kind of the goal here with these type of things.
absolutely. And that
but
makes it fun for me too. Even though I don't like them, I'm like, okay, why don't I like them?
Sure.
I've
yeah.
never listened to them. Why don't I listen to
Yeah.
them? And there's a couple of these where I was like, wow, man, I really missed out on that. Why didn't I listen to them?
Right.
So, and there was a bunch of it, not a bunch of it, but some of it where I was like, yep, I probably heard a lot of this, and that's probably why I never really listened to them after that. So anyway.
So going through the journey, I'll kind of tell you where I jumped in on these guys. I did not like them from the beginning. I was around at the beginning. I actually have a buddy of mine, Steve, who's friends with Brian S. as well. He was like, you got to check out this band. And the first thing I thought of real quick is, man, this dude sounds like a chick. Like, it's way too high. I can't get into it. And, that's what a lot of people will say with entry into this band is, it's just the vocals is hard. But once I was in. A lot of things I appreciate about these guys, but Coheed and Cambria, they're American progressive rock band from Nyack, New York, formed in 1995. No, 1995. They were actually called Shabooty.
Shabooty. That made me laugh when I saw that. Like, they were actually called Shabooty. They really were called Shabooty.
And the funny thing is when that band Shabooty formed, Travis Stever, who's the basically the co-writer, at least early on a lot of the stuff, left the band to do another band, and then they formed Shabooty. But then when they in 2001 changed their name to Coheed and Cambria, that kind of marked the moment where Travis Stever came back. So
is it Stever or Stever?
It is actually Stever.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I kept looking at him like, man, I don't want to butcher this guy's name a bunch of times.
Well, he is in the band from beginning to end.
Right,
so,
right.
So we can kind of just talk about him now.
Is Ephard, was he been in the band almost the whole time too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get into it because there's a few stories that go along with these guys,
awesome.
but mostly so when they actually became Coheed and Cambria in 2001. They consisted of course, Claudio Sanchez. Claudio is obviously the main member of the band. His hair is the second member of the band. I think is completely awesome. That's the first thing I seen about these guys. I'm like, that dude's hair is freaking awesome.
It's out of control.
It's insane. But yep, that's the second member of the band, and then of course
he's
Travis,
grown into it too.
He really has. He kind of almost looked silly early on, like he didn't quite fit it.
Right. He was too thin and small, and his hair was like.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, he has definitely grown into it. Travis Stever, like we talked about, he is the other guitarist. They do dual guitars. He actually was a vocalist of the band, like really early on before they released an album. These guys have really good vocal, different harmonies and things like that going on. Josh Eppard, like you mentioned, on drums, he started and he is the current drummer, but he did go through some things a little bit in the middle. We'll talk about those when we get there. And Zach Cooper is the current bass player, was not who started. That was a guy named Michael Todd. He is famous for his mugshot after being high on drugs and robbing a Walgreens. So he actually has some stories, but they tried. He was on drugs and was having some struggle with addiction and left the band and then came back, and then he got into trouble again, and that was the end of it. But that's really the only changes this band has had. It's pretty much been the same from front to back. Like I mentioned, they're considered progressive rock, but they're all kind of all over the place. I guess alternative rock. I guess they say post-hardcore, like emo. Definitely a lot of emo, and different progressive elements. Rock, a lot of classic rock influences for sure. When you listen to them, you can kind of sense where Claudio grew up listening to. A lot of Pink Floyd, a lot of Iron Maiden, a lot of those type of the way that he plays guitar and the harmonies and stuff that they write, a lot of those type of things. In every interview I hear, like, oh, where did you start to learn guitar? He's like, I started to learn guitar when I got Somewhere in Time on vinyl, and could not stop listening to it. So Iron Maiden was a main influence on him. Just kind of really helped with his guitar playing. And I think that is kind of what shined through with the band. The other interesting thing with Coheed and Cambria is, of course, the singer who writes all the lyrics from beginning to end is actually an author of I guess, accompaniment. I guess it's not comics. What do they call it? The
Graphic novels.
graphic novel. Yep. Graphic novels of a sci-fi story, very, very loosely like a Star Wars type thing where,
Definitely
he's,
sci-fi.
yeah, definitely those type of things. So, I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second, but a lot of these albums, the first 5 specifically, are based on this Amory Wars series that he has written. I've watched different things on how he writes these lyrics and things like that. And early on, it was very lyrics by the book. And then later on, he wrote more with like life experience and then kind of worked it into the book where, the songs were written and then he was writing the books kind of after. So
Yeah,
that definitely worked better for him. I know we'll get into that. We kind of talked a little bit about that before the podcast. But we'll get into those albums. But the Amory Wars, very simply, there's 2 characters, Coheed and Cambria. They were, like, I guess, clones, kind of created. End up, trying to stop this guy from taking over this universe that they're in. The little picture that you see below us here with the triangle and the planets around it is kind of the map of this universe, of where this exists. There's like
78
planets.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like,
yeah.
it would take forever to get through all that.
And it gets very convoluted. Yeah, I've tried to read some of these books, and those locations get very convoluted very quickly.
Okay.
But again, there's this like force that keeps these planets together. It's called the fence. But it's basically this these planets and these 2 characters, Coheed and Cambria, trying to stop the evil villain, like the Darth Vader of the universe, from taking over. There's magic in it. There's different things that come up. Coheed and Cambria end up having children, and the children is like the chosen one, and so it's a sci-fi epic that basically just goes into his version of Star Wars, and it's a cool little concept that goes along with the albums. I don't think it's anything that you need to be able to follow. I feel like the music kind of can stand on its own, especially later on. Early on, they kind of go hand in hand to their detriment at times. But anyway,
have you read any of this stuff?
I have. Yeah, I've read the first couple books, and then it gets really confusing. They add like time travel and things like that. Like a lot of stuff in the names of the songs that you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Like the Willing Well and stuff like that. Like that is like their time travel device. They go in this well and they try to go back in time and try to do if I could go back in time and kill the guy before he becomes the menace, could I do that? And it's like into those type of things. So the first 5 albums are basically this story of Coheed and Cambria and their children, and them trying to defeat this evil boss, trying to take over the whole thing. And there's mages, and there's like different sci-fi elements and magic and things like that. So it's cool, and a lot of people are super into it. I was into it until a little bit later on, where I was kind of like, it gets hard to follow. The one cool thing that he does, and I know both of us are at least a little bit into Stephen King.
Yeah.
Kind of does the same thing where he adds himself as a character within the books. And he plays like the role of the writer, like he's God in there. So
I read a little bit about that, and I'm like, that's where that could kind of get confusing if it's not done right, because like he's the writer, the creator of this stuff, but he's in it as the writer and creator. So it's like, okay, so it's hard. Do I look at him from outside the planet? Now I got to look at him inside, like it's, but I feel like in just listening to, this stuff lyrically, and a little, like I said, a lot of it for the first time, but I feel like this guy is probably too smart for me. Like,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
think that I could probably understand or comprehend what he wrote. Although I do find it interesting.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should try to see if I can find this an audiobook or try
Yeah.
reading it to see if it, but I just feel like I kind of have this preconceived notion that this guy is just too smart for me and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
understand it. So
Yeah, I
but,
mean, it's again the good thing is he kind of separates it. So like I
okay.
said, the first 5 albums is one little saga,
Yeah.
and then the next 2 albums are its own little thing, like a pre like series before it, and then the now the most current 3 same universe obviously, but it's a brand new tale. So it doesn't just go on forever on the same type of things.
Yeah.
It sets it up good so you can kind of pick up where you want and all that. It's all the same universe, but it's cool. It's definitely cool, and I like that the option is there. Like if you want to
Yeah.
know about these songs and
Yeah.
albums, because it's more than just like concept albums. Like there's actual storytelling going on in this, and sometimes better than others, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
With their first record released on March 5th, 2002. Why the hell not? Let's stir up some controversy right off the bat. It's really funny because a lot of these podcasts, I'll do my rankings, like what I think is what I think, but then I'll go on and start go to hardcore fans on YouTube or articles on the internet, and I'm going to see what their rankings are. And man,
Still haven't done that. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I still haven't done it.
People love this album.
I know.
So
I've seen pictures of people getting it signed with him and his current wife, because she's into these stories as well, and she helps create them, which is cool. And I've seen pictures, and like the first thing I see a picture of the two of them with markers in their hands, and this album sitting in front of them, and I'm like, well, that's got to be because it's the first one, right? No, people really love this, and I don't want to know why.
People love the Second Stage Turbine Blade, and when I first heard these guys was the next album, but I definitely went back, and this album just does not resonate with me at all. It's just so.
Why is it 2? Before we go any further, why is it 2?
The second, it's because
Second Stage Turbine Blade 2. It's like a volume 2. Like the next album is 3, and then the one after that is 4. Like where's 1?
Yeah, it's called The Year of the Black Rainbow is 1.
Okay.
It just didn't come out in that chronological order.
I got you.
But,
okay.
That's why it's the first 5 and not the first 4, because the first 4 would make sense, but it would be 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of the 1 that comes at the end. But so that kind of explains it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't know that. I did not see that anywhere.
So and it actually,
and that's an album too. The Year of the Black Rainbow. So
yes, it is.
That makes sense. Now you say that, I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was just another one in the story. I didn't realize that is the beginning, the origin of all of this. So that's pretty cool.
Well, the beginning of the Amory Wars,
right? Of the story, not the albums.
Yes.
The story.
So, Second Stage Turbine Blade released March 5th, 2002. On an independent label. Again, these guys weren't really discovered. They did a bunch of touring off this album. They just started gathering small crowds. I heard different stories about it, where they would go to do shows at these clubs and get 50 people, and they would be like, yeah, we only played for 50 people, but we sold 45 copies of this album. And they were bragging like, it blew our minds that everybody that we could drag to see our show always left with a copy of the album. And that's how they grew. They grew due to their live show, not necessarily where this band gets any radio play or gets a whole lot of any of that stuff. They got big early just through touring and people loving their live show, probably up there seeing all that hair flopping around and like, this dude is freaking cool.
Definitely memorable. If you've seen them, you'd be like, oh, hey, the guy with the hair, I remember that guy, like, for sure. And, even if you didn't like their music, you definitely remember him.
And the super high-pitched voice.
Well,
early on, it does improve. It does get way better, in my opinion. But at this point, this album is not what they would become. There's really not a whole lot in this one that's like progressive rock or metal. This is very poppy, almost boy bandy-ish. And And I actually like a few of the songs off of this album, but mostly because I've seen them so many times over the years where they'll usually play one song off this album every time they play a show, and they sound pretty cool. Like now, updated everything. The production on this is really, really bad. Um, Obviously, again, they're a starter portion of this band. They're trying to figure things out. Um, Claudio just is brand new to singing. Obviously, you could see his Rush. I talked about the other bands that really influenced. Rush obviously was a big influence on these guys, especially vocally. Just it was one of those things where you could tell that they weren't where they were.
2012 pops right into the front of my
Yes.
mind.
Mhm.
Like it's concept, it's story, it's progressive, it's his voice. Like there's a lot of
A lot of
similarities, a
similarities for
lot.
sure.
Yeah.
So second stage Turbine Blade, the songs that I like, and again, I'm basing this mostly off of songs that later on I've heard live, or live recordings, because they do have some live. They have a live album, I think, with a lot of these songs on it, and I've seen a lot of them over the time. Time Consumer is pretty cool. Everything Evil, I just saw them
Gonna say that's the one
last
they
week.
played off of here when you just saw him, right? I
Yep.
looked at that set list too.
Very cool. Delirium Trigger, good songs, but on this record, it's just not the best version of them. And this is where the controversy, I think, is going to start, because a lot of people love this album. But I'm going to start this right off the bat with number 11 on the second stage Turbine Blade. It's a number 11, and it's like a D for me. I can recognize that there's some songs in here that I like, but the production just being so bad, the vocal stuff just not being where it should be. And I guess we could start bringing up about it now. I can start it and then you could finish it, where we talk about how this feels like he's opening up a book and reading lyrics to music. And it sounds almost, I don't know, like robotic almost. It seems like the song was a secondary portion of what they were trying to do, and the lyrics were just kind of read over top of it. But I'll let you kind of put that in your words as well. But second stage Turbine Blade, not my thing. All the way at number 11 to start, in a D. What did you think of second stage Turbine Blade, Mister A?
I didn't think much more of it than you did, but this was the journey I was on, so this is where I started. I actually thought, for a debut album, I thought the production was actually pretty good. I mean, the songs instrumentally, like as a band, they didn't really sound like they were together all that well. There's not much in the way of guitar riffs. Like, it doesn't sound like, my thoughts were, it didn't sound like metal or even hard rock really a lot of times. And my question that I wrote in my notes was, why are we reviewing this garbage? Like,
Yeah,
it just doesn't sound like a band we would ever do.
yeah,
Like, and my next comment was, I'm not sure why Hurd likes these guys at all. I don't get it, So I actually texted you after
yeah.
listening to this album, and I'm like, dude, what gives, man? I can't do this. Like, I might have to, we'd have to switch this up or something, because I told Kelly, we're listening in the car, I'm like, I don't know if I can listen to 11 albums of this. This is awful. It is absolutely awful. That's the only way I can put it. So they still play, like I said, a song or two live off of this, which, I guess Everything Evil, and I put, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe, like you said, maybe they do something with it live where it's better, but oh, it's bad. So there's nothing on here that's my favorite. If I had to pick one, God Send Conspirator would probably be it, I guess, but that's that one. That's the last track on here. A lot of these songs are very long. I mean, we're talking over 5 minutes, like more than half of them. Oh, this was such a struggle. His voice, I mean, this guy sounds like a 13-year-old girl singing, but worse, because he does not really have a good voice, a good singing voice. He really doesn't. He doesn't do a lot of the things that he sounds better now, but it fits more with what they do. Maybe I got used to it, but I never really found to this guy where I was like, wow, like Ronnie James Dio, like
Oh,
I
right.
never, this guy is just not an outstanding singer. But I mean, it fits with what he does. He writes all these lyrics. I mean, he kind of has to sing, but I almost wonder like what it would be like if Stever did sing.
Yeah,
Maybe. So does he sing on any songs on any of these albums? Or is
backups.
okay, but it's all Claudio.
It's all Claudio.
I
Yeah,
didn't know if there was any like even some of the bands we've done. There's a song or two here and there that somebody else sang. Just I figured 11 albums, maybe somebody sang one somewhere, but I didn't notice it. Like it sounded like him the whole time. But they do things effects wise later on that they kind of. Some of it I don't like. Some of it actually kind of sounded a little better. So, but like this album was just all him, just clean. Like it was so bad. So I have this D last. I won't give anybody an F. I mean, they're putting out an album. These guys make money. Like you said, they gained a following. People like this album. I can't give them an F. I mean, that just would be, I wouldn't have any integrity if I gave them an F. That would be disingenuous or whatever. But I didn't like this one at all. It's 11 for me. It's a D for me also. And my last comment was, I will never listen to this again, even if you pay me to. So I've done it once. I will never listen to this again. It's that bad for me.
fair enough.
So that's what I got.
All right. Album number 2, released October 7th, 2003, signed already to Columbia. So that tells you right there. They got the following, and they quickly got a manager, and they got signed. Second album, In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. Again, this is not even the longest title. It gets much longer. But this album, again, not where I came in. I did not like this when it first came out. But I did grow a little bit more to like this album over the years. I think the music has they more got into what they were going to do. This is more progressive rock. I feel like this is more rock music. That first one, I did not get that sense all that much. But this, again, being the second studio album, the next chapter in the saga of the Amory Wars. In these songs, and this is one thing I notice about this band right from the beginning when I started listening to them, is I find it very interesting that these guys almost write music parts the opposite of what a lot of other people do, where during the verse, usually what the bands will do is play a riff, and then they'll settle into a pocket for the chorus to be like the huge chorus. But Coheed and Cambria, if you listen to the music going on during their choruses, that's when they do their like they really do their guitar work during the chorus, which it might go into what you were saying earlier. Maybe Claudio realized, obviously, they're not going to be this band because of this phenomenal singing voice. I feel like maybe taking some I guess, recognition away from what's going on. But if you really listen to what they do during the choruses on guitar, it blows me away. If you just settle into that, it's really cool how they write songs like that. That being said, this album still has the same thing that you didn't talk about, but I talked briefly.
I'm going to during this album.
But this is same exact
I
thing.
have a specific example song off of this one.
Okay. He definitely is reading. It's like he's opening up his graphic novel and reading right along to the music here. So I totally agree with that. There's some bangers on this album, though, for me especially. Favorites for sure in the title track and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. If you're a Coheed and Cambria fan, obviously like that song is like the anthem of seeing them live. The whole last couple minutes of it with the chanting and stuff, it's really, really cool to get the crowd going with it. Great song, great quotable things, man your battle stations, and those type of things. Just it might come across as silly, and it came across as silly to me for many, many years until I went back to it. But this is an album that really grew on me. You got some singles off here. Blood Red Summer, they had a video for that one. A Favor House Atlantic, I have a video for that one as well. These are songs they play at every show, basically, especially Favor House Atlantic. a lot of the stuff in between is a little bit where it falls under that, you're reading the lyrics, but a lot of great guitar stuff here. To me, this is where the band, kind of drew a line in the sand and said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play these awesome guitar harmonizing things, and we'll figure out the rest later. And I feel like while they were figuring out the rest later, this album really showed their guitar work. So I really, really like this one. There's not really anything that I would skip, especially over the years. Listening to this, I'll throw this on as like an epic album, and I won't really skip anything. I think there's a lot of strong moments on here. I think vocals, obviously, there's still a lot of room to improve. The way he writes his lyrics into the songs, obviously, are going to show some improvement here very soon. But for me, this is a really, really good album. This one lands at number 5 for me, and it's a B. Probably wouldn't have said that early on. Again, I didn't like these guys when I first heard this album. I still thought his vocals really bothered me a lot. But number 5 and a B, kind of setting a good spot where we finally get to show what these guys are going to do. And I started to dig it, especially when I went back. But what did you think, Mr. H, of In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3?
I didn't like this one a whole lot more, but the production, it was kind of thin and lacks low end, but it was still pretty clear. But I wish there was more bass and drums in there. But
even the guitars, they aren't chunky enough. I don't feel like. It doesn't help.
It's just thin.
Yeah.
So, but it does sound better than the previous album. So I don't want to say it sounds bad. It does. It's missing the thickness, but you definitely can hear everything in there. It's just flat. But this is where I asked the question during my journey. So my journey basically got off to I ran out of gas kind of as soon as I left the driveway, and then I got a flat tire, somewhere down the road here, and had to get my tire fixed. So my journey is off to a real slow start here, but I'm still missing melody. There's still not much hook here. I just hear him on the title track to just keep telling us to man our battle stations. He says it 47 times. It's crazy. It's not that many times, but it was a lot. And I'm like, all right, dude, I got it. It seems like he's like, I am going to put man your battle stations in this song. And I don't care how many times I have to do it. I'm putting it in here. So I'm like, just call the song man your battle stations, please. You don't, but I felt it was just missing stuff, it's just. So then we get to Three Evils, and that's the title track. You like that one. It's 8 minutes and 13 seconds long. He does say man or battle stations a lot in there, but and then we get to the next song, which I didn't really care for either. The first song is kind of more an intro. They do a lot of that. Most of them I don't really like, but some of them I do. And then a couple albums they actually start off with a pretty good banger, which I'm like, all right, this is good. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
But this kind of wasn't one of them. But anyway, so we get to the third song, or the third actual song, which is track 4, Three Evils, embodied in love and shadow. There's a lot of long songs.
There is,
so. But so we get to this, and it just I actually started to laugh. I started to laugh in the middle of the song because this is where I notice it the most, where it's incomprehensible music, because he's reading a book over a loose structure of a song until the very end of the song. And this is kind of where things started to turn around for me right here, is he gets to where he kind of chants, pull the trigger and the nightmare stops.
Yeah.
He says that the last 2 minutes, this song kind of rocks the last 2 minutes, and he pulls that out a few times. And I'm like, okay. And that is what stuck in my head. Finally, I got something to stick in there, to where the next day I'm still thinking about pull the trigger. I'm like, what did he say again? I'm like, yeah, pull the trigger and the nightmare stops. And then, it's like I almost kind of wanted to hear it again. And then the very next song, The Crowing, is the first song by them that I actually like.
Yeah.
I actually genuinely like that song. I'm like, it's 6 minutes and 40 seconds long, but this one, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to hear it now. I'm starting to get it. So that song I like. Blood Red Summer I didn't like. They do a lot of these volume songs
Suites.
where
Yeah,
there's
they're
like a
suites.
suite of songs where there's 3 or 4 parts, and this one was the Camper Valorium 1, 2, and 3. And that to me, there's some of these that I do like much later on, and some
Yeah.
of them I just don't like at all. But this one to me was just blah. Like it
Yeah.
did nothing for me. And I was like, okay, I don't even know kind of where these beginning and end. Like they could just kind of be the same, just one long song.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case, but in this case it was. And like Favorite House Atlantic, I didn't care for that one. Like I like my favorites on here are the crowing, and that's it.
Okay.
And then the end of Three Evils before that. So that's really the only part of the album I like, but at least the light bulb went on and I'm like, okay, if I hear more of this I can do, so this is where things started to look brighter. It wasn't raining anymore. I got my tire fixed. My car's full of gas. Like, let's go. So I have this as a C- and number 9, but it's better.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more guitar in here where I just couldn't even find it in the beginning in the first album. I'm like, where's the guitar in here? I don't, why are we listening to this? So it was still too whiny. I do have that as a comment, and still lacked melody, but there's something here that I kind of want to see going forward. So I have this as a C- number 9.
All right. We will move on to the game changer for Hurd, hopefully for Mr. H as well. This is When They Blew Up. Third studio album released on September 20th, 2005. Let me take a deep breath real quick. Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 1. From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. Yes, that would be what the name of the album is.
Whew,
and
that was a mouthful.
They delivered. This album is when I jumped in head first and was like, these guys are what I'm looking for, especially guitar-wise. These are great songs. As far as I'm concerned, this is where I was like, I discovered this band, even though my friend told me about them early on. I just felt like I'm in. I can't wait to see what these guys do. They're a young band that, did a little bit of struggling early on, but here they are. They've arrived. Man, this album is awesome, especially the first half of it. Maybe first half more. Welcome Home is the song that probably everybody knows if they know one. That's their biggest song. It got on Rock Band. A lot of people played it on that game. Just a huge song for them. They follow that back to back with 10 Speed of God's Blood and Burial. Oh my God, that song is a banger. And they just keep going on this album. I love it. Crossing the Flame is really, really good. Apollo 1, really, really good. Wake Up is their ballad, and they actually do some pretty decent ballads, this being one of them.
We're going to disagree big time there, sir.
That's fine.
Oh, my goodness.
Love me some Wake Up. Suffering is their second single off the album, also a very good song. Where this one kind of falls a little bit for me is the Willing Well, the 4-piece suite. I think this is actually one of their weaker ones personally. It's what prevents this album from really, really being the top album for me, for these guys. But there's just such good stuff on here. The mix is really, really good. You could hear the 2 guitar parts in almost every song. The way that Claudio and Travis bounce off each other is just unreal. Like these two are like right here, this album, they're just showcasing like, this is what we do. We shred, we do awesome guitar solos. We Welcome Home. They just go back and forth. I love that. They don't really have a lead guitarist. They both play leads at different parts. I absolutely love it. Seeing this is the first time I saw them live too. I was blown away with the dual guitar parts. When he plays Welcome Home, he comes out with the double stack guitar where he'll play the riff on the top one and the bottom one he'll do the solo stuff. I always think that double decker guitar is so freaking cool.
Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it can be a little much, I think.
The only song he does it for, which
yeah. I just like when you see like there's guys who was the guy that had like the 5-neck one. Yeah, it doesn't Rick Nielsen from
Yeah, you're
Cheap
right.
Trick. He's got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And there was another metal guy that had like a bunch of necks on it. I mean, it kind of gets out of hand sometimes, but it is kind of cool. I know we talked about Bon Jovi last week. Richie Sambora plays one of those acoustic one.
Okay.
It sounds great, because
Yeah.
he can switch back and forth between the 6 and the 12 string on it, which is awesome. So sometimes it really works. But yeah, I have seen photos of him. I didn't know that's when he pulled it out, but I have seen photos of him with that.
Yeah. So yeah,
Interesting.
very good, very good stuff. But yeah, this album's a little bit long, a little long on the tooth at the end of it. Again, I was in on this band, but still, when I go back, I listen to this album all the time still. But I kind of stop right about the suffering. The back half of it it's when I listen to it and I love it, but it's just when I come back to this, I come back to those first 9 songs, and to me, that's almost that's an album there. So. I feel like they just kind of went on a little too long, and a lot of times they do with a lot of their stuff. They're a progressive. That's kind of where the progressive comes in. Sometimes they just go a little too crazy with these suites, and
yes,
it just ends up really, really long. But man, this album again, it marked the I'm in moment for these guys, and very good stuff. So this one is an A album for me for sure. Again, would be A+ territory if they would have kept that first 9 songs and kind of reproduced that and kept going, but it's just an A for me. I know just an A. This is number 2 for me.
Ooh, interesting.
Just love this album. It's just phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, they have obviously one album better coming up, but this is I think the pinnacle.
To see what that is.
Yeah, this is like kind of the pinnacle for me of like I found a recent guitar band that I just love. The different types of guitars they play and the sounds they're making and the way they intertwine and all that stuff. So definitely a huge fan of this one. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 Volume 1 From Fear Through the Eye of Madness. Mr. H, what did you think?
I think that's a really long title.
Yes,
but
sir.
It's a really long album. So
yeah,
71 minutes. I believe their second longest one, right?
Sounds right.
I have an interesting thing I realized, which I will get to when we get to the other one later. But, well, you figure it out. It's pretty simple, actually. But I felt like the production was a little inconsistent on here. Now, I don't know. Did you notice that? Maybe it was just me. I'm not sure. It felt like a little flat and muddled sometimes and other times not, but at least the low end is there all the time, so it just was weird. Like I'm listening to it, maybe it's headphones. I don't know. I mean, I listened to the whole album in the same place and just some songs sounded really good, kind of like middle to later on, but the first like songs just seemed inconsistent. I don't know. It was definitely interesting, but it kind of starts off with a kind of a folksy kind of first 2 songs, Keeping the Blade, Always and Never. They're both short songs, but they're just, I'm like, boy, and then Welcome Home comes on. So you had mentioned Welcome Home. This one I know and I like.
Yeah.
It lacks a good vocal hook still, but it is a bit meandering, but the guitar riff is undeniable. It's got a great back and forth solo work later on in the song, as you mentioned. Now, I also love their back and forth solos and riff work, but it's not always there. It comes and it goes, and I don't know why they don't do more of that. Like, it frustrated the crap out of me later on.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I made a few comments in here too. I'm like, where is the 2 guitar thing? Why is it not here? Like, they're so good at it. And it frustrates me that it disappears, and I don't understand why. So, but that's a great song, like great riff, very memorable. And then it goes into 10 speed, which has got a great little guitar riff also. This is, much more likable, these 2 songs, than what's mostly on the previous albums. I think I like those 2 songs more than basically anything. Even the crowing I started to like on the previous album, but I like this stuff way more than that. So this is definitely where I had hoped that it was going to go when I was in the middle of album 2 there. But so far, anything that showcases his voice, like Wake Up, I do not like at all.
Okay.
I don't think he's a particularly good singer, as I mentioned, and his super high register, it drives me nuts. It sounds like falsetto, but it isn't. Like I wrote in here, he should do a Bee Gees cover album. It'd be fantastic. So, I mean, right, do some like, kind of rocked up Bee Gees stuff, and he could definitely sing it. So, the 4-part, the Willing Well at the end is all it's good, but it's got really weird vocals on one. But you stick around, at the very end for the nice little Led Zeppelin nod at the end there.
Yep.
It's really good. You'll know it when you hear it. It kind of goes quiet and then comes back, and I was like, huh. What is this? I'm like, this is pretty cool thing to find at the end there. I'm glad I left it play, because I'm like, I still got like a minute and a half left of the song. How come it's not doing anything? And then I'm like, oh, all right. So good stuff. Make sure you stick around for that. My favorites on here are Welcome Home, 10-speed, Apollo 1 and 2. I like both of those. Once Upon Your Dead Body, I liked also. Where's Apollo 2? Oh, the 14th song, the Wishing Well 3, or Willing Well. I'm going to call it Wishing Well. Willing Well 3, Apollo 2, The Telling Truth. Another really long name for a song, but that one I liked too. I like that one quite a bit. So the skippers for me are the first two, Keeping the Blade and Always and Never. To be fair, they're both kind of short, like I said, and Wake Up. But that's it. I like the entire rest of this album. So, and there's stuff I really like on here. So this I have as a B+. This I also have at number 2. I rather like, a lot of this one much more than the first two. It's just I don't understand what the inconsistent sound. So but regardless, this is a really solid, likable album for me, and I will listen to this again for sure. And I'm kind of sorry I missed it before, to be honest with you. That's how much I was kind of blown away by how much better this is compared to the first two albums. So this is number 2 and a B+.
All right. Got a comment here from Jay Pundick.
No.
How's it going, man?
At all. Nonsense. I hate that. What do these clowns know?
Yeah. We'll say this. That's Mr. H's opinion. I do not think he's a poor singer.
I didn't say poor.
Okay. What did you say? Not necessarily a great singer? Was that
yes,
your word?
And maybe I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd put him even in the good category, but I wouldn't say poor. Average, maybe.
I think he gets better, and I think that the first two albums he does not sound great. This album, I think you're starting to hear more parts of it, but I think he gets much better. So I kind of see what Mr. J. Pundick is saying, but I just think it's just an opinion of what you like. So, whether it's nonsense or not, you like what you like.
I feel like they built music around it that made it sound better. I'll put it that way. But it never really... I don't know that it really improves. It's just they make it sound better with the music and with the things that are going on around it. But
I think after this album, I think it works very well. So I'll disagree with you there. I think starting with the next record, which was released on October 23rd, 2007, we not only are still on Columbia, but we get our boys Nick Raskelins, which we've talked about many, many times, producing a lot of these albums, Foo Fighters, all kinds of different things. And Rick Rubin, who always seems to find his way into our podcast, no matter what, helped produce this album. Again, after the last album blew up, we get this, their fourth studio album, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. This album was the first to not have their drummer, Josh Eppard, who I talked about. I would bring that up when he came. So he had his bout here with addiction. He left the band. I think when they went over, I think to start doing a European tour before recording this album, he was like, I'm out. He's like, I got a problem. I need to figure this out. So they end up, so they want to get the drummer from the band. My mind is going blank. The Dillinger Escape Plan. They got the drummer from them. But when they went to record this album, because he was under contract with the Dillinger Escape Plan, the label would not allow him to perform on this album. They said they would sue them if they did. So They actually recruited none other than Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters to play drums on this record. So this is the one and only album that Taylor Hawkins was actually the drummer, but he only played in the studio, and that was it. He was,
Rest in peace, Taylor.
yeah, he was a hired gun, but immensely talented. You could definitely hear the playing on this. Awesome. Obviously, he was a legend, and he is very sorely missed in the rock community for sure. Like Mr. H said, rest in peace. But this album, I was fully in. After that first record, not the first record, after the last record, I was like, okay, I love these guys. I was pumped for this when it came out. I got it the first day it came out. And sure enough, did not leave my CD player for many months. I saw these guys, I think, twice on this tour. This is when I saw them on Warped Tour, and then they came somewhere else. I've seen these guys so many times, it's all mixed up to me at this point. But this album is phenomenal. I absolutely love this album. There's no weak moments. There's no skipping of this for me. This is 1 to 13. This is one of the ones that I love, the suite, the 1 through 5. This just everything about this album I absolutely love. I love even the little acoustic guitar, little intro with the reaping into the fantastic guitar riff of No World for Tomorrow. They just come out shredding right off the bat. Such a banger song. They play these songs live all the time. I remember when I saw them maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they played it. I was going nuts. The Hound is a great song. Very David Gilmour-ish, which he pulls a lot of times in this album with his guitar solos. Sounds a lot like David Gilmour. This is the first time, the very intro, the very David Gilmour tone. Feathers, it gives Mr. H, even though he may not admit it, that big chorus that you could sing along to. I think it's phenomenal. Running Free was the first single. Absolutely love it. My favorite ballad of theirs, probably Mother Superior. They played this live the same time I seen the No World for Tomorrow about 5-6 years ago. It sounds fantastic. I will have to send you the live version of it. I have it on my phone. And I'm hoping you will at least say it's much better on there. But
boy, I hope so too.
Gravemakers and Gunslingers is so good. Justice and Murder is good. And again, I love just naming all the songs, but every single song on here is a
number
banger,
one.
Which you can easily see where this is going for sure. This is my number one Coheed and Cambria album. Nobody could tell me otherwise. This is just their strongest from front to back. This is an A+ album for me. There's not a second I don't love everything they're doing. This is guitar from front to back. You know, while later on I admit they will get away from their dual guitar playing, this album is a tour de force of let's just play guitar off of each other. Every song, awesome. I love every moment of this. So this is an easy A+ for me, number one. They never have touched this since, not even close, especially with guitar playing. And I think his voice sounds fantastic here. For as much as that they're going to, again, I admit he's not Ronnie James Dio or anything like that. I believe that you are correct with that, but I think this is where it just works. This is now his band, and he's decided the way he was going to sing, the way he was going to sound, and this to me was the whole Coheed package altogether for me. So, No World for Tomorrow is basically the shortened title of this now. I think that's what it goes by. I think on the front of the album, it also just says No World for Tomorrow. But this is number one, easy for me. What did you think of the long title plus No World for Tomorrow?
It's not as long as the last one.
It's true.
Otherwise, I'm telling you otherwise. You said nobody can tell you otherwise.
You did. You told
otherwise. Me. First of all, outstanding production. I wrote hello, both Nick Raskelins and Rick Rubin. Yeah. Wow, does this sound good? Oh, Candy. Oh, so good. Feathers. Okay. You're right. Careful what you wish for with Feathers, though, because I got the hook, I got the melody, but it was just a little too light radio pop skinny jeans for me.
Okay.
Maybe it was a 2007 thing. It was 18 years ago. I mean, this song is old enough to vote now.
It is.
So, yeah, I had a rough time with that one. But as you mentioned, careful what you wish for. There definitely is a hook in there. So you're right about that for sure. For me here, this band has really hit their stride in their pocket on these last two albums. They're doing what works well for them, using the twin guitars, more melody, much better songwriting, even vocal hooks here and there, like you mentioned. And the Claudio vocals don't stick out like a sore thumb to me too much to me anymore here. So I prefer, though, the little more heavy of the previous album to this one.
Okay.
I like the third album a little bit more. It's just a little heavier than this one. This one's got, I'm going to complain probably a lot about this pop rock stuff that they had going on. And then it starts to show up here. I get it. I know why people love it. I know they're probably, eat it up on the radio. It's just not my thing. Like, I never liked that kind of stuff during these years. Maybe it's because I was listening to heavier stuff. I don't know. But I love the guitar work and that kind of stuff. But when it gets to be that radio pop, almost, there's some dance songs later. And some of these albums, I'm like, what are we doing? So, but luckily there's not a lot of that here. So there's a little bit of it, but not much. I just prefer the slightly heavier songs of the previous album. So I love World of Tomorrow. I like The Hound. I like The Running Free. I like Grave Markers and Gunslingers. You mentioned all those.
Yep.
I like all of those songs. My only skipper here is Mother Superior.
Of course,
I just can't do it, man. I can't do it. Oh, I tried. I'll keep talking about the ballads. I tried, man. Maybe I gotta listen to it a bunch of times. Maybe I gotta hear the live version. I'll listen to the live version.
I'm sending it. I don't care.
Send it to me.
You may hate it.
Torture myself with it, but I will listen to it. We'll see if it sounds better to me live. Maybe I come back tomorrow and be like, okay, I get it. I'm coming around. It's better than I thought. I just, man, I get to it and I dread it. I know it's coming, right? And I'm listening to it track by track. I know there's going to be one in here, and it starts going. And I actually worry about it later. On later albums, there's songs that start slow, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. And then it picks up. There's an album, my favorite album of theirs is later on, and that happened to me like 5 times on that album. The first 30 seconds, I'm like, oh no, here we go. We're going to hit a patch of 3 or 4 songs. And then it picks up, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. I'm like, so I can't judge them until I listen to the whole thing. But this one, it just kind of never really went for me. So I just didn't like Mother Superior. But I have this as a B. I have this as number 4 out of 11. So I have this in their top quarter of their albums, top third of their albums. I just slightly prefer Volume 1. Volume 1. I slightly prefer Volume 1 to Volume 2. I'm like, Burning Star 4, Volume 1. Okay. Apollo 1, Apollo 2. That kind of stuff. The End Complete, there's nothing in there I didn't like. Yeah. I didn't love it. It's not my favorite of the suites that they do, but it's not bad. Radio Bye Bye was catchy. Yeah. But it just, I don't know, it kind of sounded goofy to me.
It is a little poppier. I mean,
it's kind of, it's poppy, right? And it's just, but I didn't mind that one, all that much. It's just, it reminded me of just Radio Gaga, right? Like,
sure. Yeah.
And this came out, many years later, but it just kind of has the same kind of cadence to it a little bit. And then we did Queen, and it was so many years earlier. I mean, not a ripoff, because it doesn't sound like that Queen song. It just reminded me of that, and I was like, I don't know. I just was like, whatever. But it's a little poppy, but I didn't mind this suite. Like, this one actually felt better. It felt more complete, as the songs were a little different, and it kind of made sense that the direction that they were going and the sequence that they were in. I was like, okay, like that, I could listen to that,
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like one long song that I'm like, when's this going to end? Like, it was actually pretty good. So I have this as number 4 and have it as a B. So I'm with you, man. I'm liking them at this point.
Awesome. Unfortunately, though, we had to approach the year of the Black Rainbow. April 13th, 2010. I was very, very excited for this
I can
release.
see why.
Obviously,
Right,
I
yeah.
was like, these guys, the trajectory is up.
Oh, you're like,
Um,
this is going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Same thing. Bought it the day it came out. I actually
Mhm.
heard it was getting produced by Atticus Ross,
Yeah,
which is my dude because I am a huge Nine Inch Nails fan,
yeah.
and that's
You can definitely hear it in there too.
Trent Reznor's buddy. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, Coheed Nine Inch Nails is not, or Nine Inch whatever. Either way, it doesn't work.
No,
This
sir, it does not.
album is not a Coheed album. It kind of, to me, even though I think the first album is the worst, this album is, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't, it's not enjoyable. It's very abrupt in a lot of places. It's a lot of strange, like the guitar work is gone a lot of times in this. I don't know what they were thinking with this. And this is the only album that Chris Penny was on from the Dillinger Escape Plan. This is the only one he was on, and
So they
it
did get them.
they for one album.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
for one
That's
album,
cool.
but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It is, and I can see why they went back to their original drummer after this. I mean, number one, he got himself cleaned up. That's a huge step.
Well, yeah.
Obviously,
That had to happen. Or
that
he's
had
never
to
coming
happen.
back.
But this drumming, it didn't work. It was very, I mean, it's what you would think. You know, I know we haven't talked that much about Dillinger Escape Plan, but I don't think
No.
either of us are fans because it's just so, it's so harsh and so
Yeah.
like unpredictable. And I feel like some of that is rubbing off on the band for this album.
The
It's
things
not,
I talk about, melody, vocal
Yeah.
hooks, you're not getting any of that in
Nothing.
Dillinger Escape Plan, right?
Nothing.
So it's definitely the kind of music that you have to be into. And apparently they're really good at it. It's just not
Yeah.
my thing. And I've seen Dillinger Escape Plan multiple times, just like I said also
Yeah.
that I've seen these guys, even though I never went to see them,
Yeah.
I have seen them. So
Yeah.
it's not my thing.
Yeah. Well, this album is not really my thing either. A few favorites. I do like The Broken. I do like Here We Are Juggernaut. I think that one is kind of a banger when it comes to the guitar work and such. Far is okay. Pearl of the Stars is probably one that you can't stand. Actually didn't
Oh,
hate
you
that one.
got me. You read me like a book here.
I
buddy.
know. I got you figured out.
You do. You got me figured
But
out.
a lot of the other songs on here are just to me, and probably this is the album where I'm going to skip the most stuff. Guns of Summer, if you listen to the drums on it, it pretty much proves my point. It's chaos. It doesn't make any sense what's going on with this music, and I'm like, what? These last two albums,
I
these
know.
beautiful guitar
I
parts,
know.
it's gone.
Oh,
It's gone here. And
So
again, I was
frustrating.
very disappointed with this album. Again, C-. I'm going to give it just because I love this band, and but it's not anything I'd come back to other than probably The Broken and Here We Are Juggernaut. Those two songs I do go back and listen to once in a while. Nothing else on here is really that good. This is number 10 for me. It was pretty easy to do my number 11 and number 10. I wrote those down right away. I was like, I know that I don't like Second Stage Turbine, and I know I don't like Year of the Black Rainbow. And kind of circling around on this is where we mentioned earlier. This is actually the first album in the Amory Wars. This one is the one that sets up those other four albums. This kind of shows you how that guy that's taking over the universe is taking over the universe. It shows you how Coheed and Cambria are created. And because again, they're called bots or iRobots, but they're not really robots. I think they're humans, but they were created like almost like a clone type thing without, an original. But it kind of shows a lot of backstory. In the Year of the Black Rainbow, it's after all these horrible things happen that you see this black rainbow in the sky, and people are like, is it from God? Is it a great sign? Is it a sign that things are going to shit or whatever? It's just in that material. So anyway, this places the beginning of the Amory Wars, and this marks the end of the first, I guess, whatever you want to say, the first round of books. Kind of puts an end on that. So anyway, Year of the Black Rainbow, number 10, C- for me. What did you think of Year of the Black Rainbow, Mr. H?
Again, I don't have much more to add than what you said. I agree with you on a lot of this. I actually have this ranked a little ahead of you, but this one it doesn't get my attention much. Like, it's still better than the first two albums for me, but the songs aren't nearly as good as the last two albums for me. So
Right.
you got the first two, which I really didn't like for the most part, and then the last two, which I really liked, and this one just falls in between. Like, it's not as bad, but this just songs aren't as good. I feel like it's still listenable though. Like, this is kind of more as background music though. There's nothing that I want to crank or nothing that I'm like, I got to hear that again. Wait, hold on, what was that? Like, there's none of that on here for me. And it definitely, you totally nailed it. It has a more industrial sound, probably thanks to Atticus Ross producing. Those are my exact words that I wrote down. Like, you totally nailed that. It's exactly what I thought. I'm like, man, it sounds so industrial. And I went and I didn't do all the info for these, obviously, because, you're a much bigger fan of them than I am. And there's, I don't know a lot of the stuff you already know about them. So, we switched it up this week, but I still pulled up Wikipedia because I'm like, man, why is this so industrial? Like, who produced this? Because you could tell it sounds way different. Like you said, Guns of Summer, like, it's just, whoa, it sounds way different. So I looked it up and it's Atticus Ross. And I'm like, yep, Nine Inch Nails. There you go. And so you totally nailed that. My favorites, obviously, like yours, were We Are Juggernaut. I still don't think that's a great song, but it's that one and When Skeletons Live is the other one that I liked. I just felt like that was a good song. It was just better than the other ones, but nothing great though. My skippers were Far and Pearl of Stars. Which,
Of course,
you figured me out. So
yep.
I have this as a C plus, kind of C plus. I didn't really know where to put this. I have this as 7, so it's in their back half of their catalog. But it's nothing I hate. It's just kind of there. It's listenable for me. I don't want to skip a lot of it. And it sounds good because Atticus Ross knows what he's doing sonically. Like, it's gonna sound industrial, but it's gonna sound good. It's gonna sound really good.
Yeah,
and it does. It does.
Yep.
It really does. So it definitely has that going for it. But this is something I just kind of put on the background. Like I said, we just kind of never really get my attention. But it's not terrible. So C plus, number 7 for Year of the Black Rainbow.
All right, we'll move on to the 6th studio album. First half of what I guess you would say would be a double-ish album, but they released it in 2 different parts between 2011 and 2012. This one was released October 9th, 2012, produced by the band with a little bit of help from a couple sound engineer guys. But this moment was kind of a breaking point for these guys. This is when they went through the problems with their bass player, which I already talked about. He had went to rehab and then came back and, begged for forgiveness, and they forgave him, and he came back in the band, and then he got high again and robbed a Walgreens. And then that was it. So
it's in Florida.
No, I don't think so.
It sounds like a Florida.
It does sound like a Florida thing. No offense to you Florida people out there. We love you.
Sorry, Jay Pundick, if you live in Florida, I apologize. Thanks for listening too, if you're still here. Appreciate
it. Yeah. But this, so we get Zach Cooper on bass, who will be their bassist from here on out. Actually, this lineup now from here on out will be the same, same 4 guys going forward. So
this is what you say, Zach Cooper? Is that the guy?
Zach Cooper is the bass player now. Michael Todd was on, I believe, every album up until this point, but no longer. He burned his last bridge with this band. And then, like I mentioned, the drummer came back for this, Josh Eppard. He's all cleaned up. He messed up his one time, and he's been good ever since. So now we have the 4-piece that's now, again, basically the ones that started, minus the bass player, but good going forward. We get the Afterman Ascension, which is a two-part story that is a prequel to the first 5 albums. So just quickly about this one, it's basically a scientist out in space that sees this key work is what it's called. That's all these planets put together.
That's the key work, the logo, right? Is that called the key work, I believe?
Exactly. Yep. So he decides to go into it and study it. He wants to know what it is, like what is keeping these planets together and all these type of things. And basically goes through these albums. What you'll see, the title of these names called Key Entity Extraction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are when he goes into this key work, basically he finds out that it's a bunch of souls of people that lived, before. So when he goes into this key work, he starts taking on the persona and kind of lives the life of these people, these key entity extractions. So I think this is actually really, really a cool concept. A lot of the computer talking in between these and things like that is all part of the story of he's out there in space by himself. He's talking to this computer that's called All Mother. So he's talking to this computer the whole time, but that's the only thing he has to keep him company because he's out in space by himself, and takes on these different people and lives their life and sees like where they went wrong, and it's all really good introspective stuff if you get into that part of it. But actually, this Afterman Ascension, the first part of it, definitely much improved for me over where it was going with the Black Rainbow. So I was very happy to see this, though it is a little bit inconsistent for me as a whole with this. The Hollow and intro into Domino the Destitute, which to me is one of my favorites by them overall. Just saw them play this live as well just last week. And it's one of those songs that where they really capture that dual guitar work. Again, getting later into this, you mentioned it, they don't always do that. But I really like Domino the Destitute. Afterman, again, it's kind of boring to me. It kind of drudges along. But Mother of Men and Goodnight Fair Lady, very good songs. I like those. But then I kind of go into like Hollywood the Cracked is really, really strange. Vic the Butcher is pretty good. But again, it's just this album is it hits when it hits to me, especially Domino. Like that song, it's one of my favorites. So of course, that being on here is going to give it a little bit more of a boost. But it's kind of uneven. At least it's not very long, 39 minutes, 9 songs with a couple really short ones in there. Overall, not my favorite, but I do come back to this for Domino the Destitute. Just one of my favorite songs by them. This one is going to drop to number 6 for me, or I guess go up to number 6, being that where I was at for the Black Rainbow. But I do like this one, just not as much as others coming up. So I'll say a B-, and I will give it, like I said, number 6. What did you think of the Afterman Ascension, Mr. H?
I thought it was less industrial sounding, like you said, which is good for them because that just doesn't fit them as a band, that industrial sound. So, but again, I don't feel like the songs, they're just not as good here as on the Apollo.
Agreed.
On Burning Man volumes. Like it's just not as good. Where I don't necessarily like the song, I agree with you on Afterman, but I appreciate what they did with Claudio's vocals on Afterman. It's a slower song, which I don't really like, from them thus far, but it's more listenable as to me because his vocals are more somber and understated rather than so high in the mix.
Yeah.
So like here it is out there, it's just much more enjoyable to listen to that, even though I don't really like the songs.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like there's ways they can fit his vocals in where it sounds really good. It doesn't, it's just, sometimes it's just, the register's too high and they put it out there. It's so far above everything else. I'm like, oh man. So this was better. But more just kind of tight, short, radio friendly pop rock stuff where they're so much better to me when they get a little heavier with dual guitar play and more solos, like where's the solos? This is where I start to get frustrated. Where are they? Sometimes also I notice here, and I have a good example that you mentioned as a song you like, and it's one of the ones that I would skip, that the music and the song lyrics, or the music and song in general, doesn't fit the mood of the lyrical content, right? So in Goodnight Fair Lady, it's kind of an up-tempo, kind of happy sounding song, but lyrically he's talking about how he deserves better and people talk bad about him, and it's about a relationship breakup. It's just weird to me. It's not like this band can do heavier and kind of darker stuff. Why is it such an upbeat kind of song when it's about all this negative stuff? It just doesn't work. So that I just didn't, I don't know, that kind of put me off of it, I guess. Sure. I don't know. And up to this point, I just don't think this band just doesn't write good ballads at all, which is weird for me because this band is so story based. Usually, you know, they add a couple hooks in there, and then, but because a ballad is a really good story, right? A lot of the times, right? Whether it's about, you know, love or whatever it's about, loss, or it's always a really good story. Like it's something you can follow along with. And that's what this band does. But I just don't feel like they just don't hit it when it comes to writing like slower ballads. Subtraction is just not a good song, you know, and that's just another one for me. It's just, I guess they just struggle to write the good choruses and hooks to fit in there. It's just, I don't know. It kind of baffles me. I feel like that's one thing they should do really well, and I just don't feel like they do. My favorites here are Vic the Butcher. Like you said, it's probably the best of the bunch for me. It's still kind of weird, but it definitely rocks harder than a lot of it does, and that one definitely stood out to me. And I did not like, you know, Good Night Fair Lady, where, like I said, it's an okay song. It just didn't work because of the weird setup with the lyrics and the way that the song goes. But, you know, I guess I didn't hate it, but it's just, I'm like, this one just, when it doesn't make sense, I just kind of like, this doesn't make sense, you know? So, and then Subtraction, I really didn't like. So I have this as a C. I have this number 8. I actually have this a spot behind the previous album, which it kind of surprised me just when I looked at it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I probably should switch these two. Like, this one's probably better than that one because it's so industrial. So I'm like, this probably should be 7, and that should probably be 8. But anyway, I have this kind of rated the same. I just have it as a spot below it, but they're in the middle for sure. There's just nothing here that just totally hooks me. So
Okay.
that's what I got for Afterman. Ascension, not
Yes.
Descension. We're only halfway there.
We're only halfway there, but not Bon Jovi Living on a Prayer. So
I wasn't going to go there.
I did.
You did. Nice work.
Seventh album
Somebody had to do it.
released a couple months later, February 5th, 2013. This is the second half of the Afterman. Same story. Again, you can see where it kind of picks up where it left off with Key Extraction 5. So we're still doing that, and then kind of things take over a little bit differently, but still the back half of that story, a lot to it. But man, this album, while I was pretty disappointed with Afterman, even though it was better to me than the way that it ended with Black Rainbow, when Dissension came out, man, I was super happy. I think it is infinitely better than Ascension. I love the Descension, especially these first, like the first half of the record to me is bangers. Key Entity. I mean, these songs are so good. Like, I love it. Century the Defiant is awesome. No, you're laughing.
Just God, it's just funny. Just one of them I had a big problem with, and it just makes me laugh because I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna see when he gets to this one, see if he really likes this song.
I do love it, and I know you don't probably love Number City because nobody else really does.
That's the one.
But you know what?
Oh my God,
dude, I groove.
Dude, is this Bruno Mars? What are we doing?
I get why you don't like it.
Oh my God!
But dude, I'm a classical guy. Like I played. Me and my brothers like played instruments and stuff growing up. I don't know that we've talked too much about it, but
no.
I'm into like horns and I'm into saxes and things like that.
It's
and
so I thought, Bruno Mars, man. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, Bruno Mars is incredibly talented.
Okay.
But that's not what we review. That's not it. Man.
That's true.
I mean, that's the thing.
But I will say,
obviously it's done by a band that we are reviewing. So
yeah. Century the Defiant, The Hard Sell, and Gravity's Union, I think, are 3 of their better songs. Absolutely love all those songs. You get the hooks, you get the guitar solos, you get all that stuff. And those 3 songs are so killer. They played all 3 of those live. I think 2 or 3 times ago that I seen them, and it was just one after another. And I was like, oh, it's so good. And I like a lot of the second half of this too, not as much as that first half. Those 3 songs are just killer. But, you know, Away We Go is okay. Iron Fist is pretty cool. Dark Side of Me is okay. I like this album a lot. This is going to be number 3 for me. Those 3 songs alone right there is just enough. Kind of carries this for me, but I love those songs. I come back to this album probably more than my 1 and 2 just because of those songs. But yeah, I love this. This Dissension blows away Ascension. And and I come back to these a lot. Just have those songs are just so solid. So number 3 and B plus. What did you think of Afterman Dissension, Mr. H? Other than Number City.
Yeah, yeah. After except for Bruno Mars guesting on the album here, I did not care for that one. But the first thing was that I noticed this one starts off strong. I like the first 3 quite a bit. Heavier and darker. I feel like it falls off kind of hard there. Although Gravity's Union, I wouldn't skip it, but it's not one of my favorites. But I did like Dark Side of Me. So I like that one a lot. I like Predalethal and Sent to the Defiant and the Hard Sell and The Dark Side of Me. So I really like 4 of the 9 songs. Gravity Union's not too bad. The rest of it's kind of to me, and I really didn't like Number City. I didn't like 2's my favorite one, and I also didn't like Iron Fist. So it's just kind of peppered through there. Like I didn't like 4, 7, and 9, but I like 1, 2, 3, and 8, and then 5's decent. Like it's kind of all over the place for me. It kind of goes up and down. But again, where's the riffs and solos after the first few songs? Like they're just non-existent. So it frustrates me when a band does something so well and they keep holding it back and won't do it. Like, but we'll get to stuff that I do like more for sure. And there's more of that to come later. It's just, I'm missing it here, but I do agree with you. This is quite a step up from the previous album. So even though, you have Ascension and Descension, I didn't get the mix, on this one, like I did on the first one, where the songs didn't match the lyrical content. And this one, I felt like it all fit, right?
Yeah.
Except for Bruno Mars. I don't know why he made an appearance, but other than that, it's just, I could just see Bruno Mars at the Super Bowl just walking around here, like, give me this instrument, plays this instrument, give me this horn, I'll play this, I can play guitar, and he sits down and play drums, you play this, you play the keyboard, play the piano, and I'm like, wow, that's what this is. So
go on and tear it out of me.
It's so funny. Right? And that's exactly what it is, man. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't fit anything we do or the bands we
That's
really...
fair. That's fair.
But hey, if you like it, you like it. There's definitely, pop songs that I like too. There's even some Bruno Mars songs I like. It's just that's the first person that came to mind when I heard it. But I have this as a B minus, and I have this 6 out of the 11 albums. So I have this right in the middle, but I have it ahead of the last 2 for sure. So this is definitely a step up. It's just the rest of it's just kind of to me. Like it doesn't really grab me, but I'm back to like, hey, there's 4 songs here I really like. So, but anyway, B minus, B somewhere in there, number 6.
Shout out to the Hard Sell. That's another David Gilmour solo, man. I freaking love that solo in the Hard Sell.
Very, very good. Very good.
Very good tone. I always say it's the David Gilmour tone where it just like melts.
You're right.
Like melts you. But
you're right. I didn't even put that together, but you're right on the money with that.
And 8th studio album, released October 16th, 2015, produced by Jay Joyce. First time we've seen him. He really hasn't done a whole lot that I can think of. I think he did the soundtrack for Reservoir Dogs. I think that was what made him popular, whatever.
Keith Urban, Carrie Underwood, Brothers Osborne. He's done a lot of country stuff in recent years, and he's won Grammys. But yeah, mostly in the country realm, I guess. So I don't. Wallflowers, Cade's the Elephant, Hailstorm.
Well, I guess it kind of
that's about it. I think he did one Hailstorm album, but
I think it kind of makes sense. The
Reservoir Dogs too, for sure. You're right.
Yeah. The Color Before the Sun is the album, and this is a very different tone than anything else that they've done. But while Black Rainbow was weak for me, I actually thought this one was interesting. So it's not an album it's their only album that they've ever done so far that has nothing to do with the whole comic series, the Amory Wars. Nothing to do with it. This is a complete album separate from anything to do with his comic writings or anything like that. So they basically just wrote an album of stuff that they wanted to do, and it's all over the place for sure. It's definitely, I think, more where you talk, where they get into this pocket of radio friendly stuff. There's a lot of that stuff on here.
You're reading my notes, man.
But I think there's some great songs in here if you kind of look at it in a vacuum where it's not the band. It's a good, I guess an alt rock album. There's really nothing about it that's even prog rock or prog at all. I would say maybe just rock.
Sometimes
Island,
not even that.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of times it's not even that. Some interesting stuff, but some favorites on here that I like, that I do come back to when I'm in a certain mood for it. Not all the time. Island, Here to Mars, probably one that you don't like, but that's one that I think is pretty cool. Little dancier type ballad thing. You Got Spirit Kid, I thought it is a really, really cool song.
Goofy name.
But Ghost is an acoustic song, pretty cool. Overall, like I said, it's got some hits, a lot of too in there. Audience, Peace to the Mountain, Young Love, Atlas, not really a fan of those. Like it could give or take. This one's kind of middle of the road for me. It's towards the back half for me, but I enjoy it sometimes coming back to it. Number 8 for me, I'm going to put Color Before the Sun. Right about C plus. I mean, it's okay. It's got some strong moments where I sing along, and really you get the catchy, but you lose basically all the guitar work in all this. But they've had worse, a little bit worse, but overall not too bad. What did you think of Color of the Sun, Mr. H?
I think you pretty much nailed where I have this, and you already know how I feel about this one before I even say it, but there's just a lot more radio pop rock here. Some of it's barely even rock, like Colors and Ghost. I mean, I even put song examples in here, like where's the good guitar riffs and solos again? Where are they? There's lots of electronic sample type stuff on here too. Now, they always have that kind of stuff in all of their albums, but in those cases, mostly, maybe not so much the Industrial album with Atticus Ross, but mostly they use this electronic sample type stuff to fill out the space left from guitars, the drums, the bass, the vocals, not in place of the instruments like it is in a lot of places on here. Like you said, there's times where I'm like, is there any guitar at all on this album? Or I'll hear it for a minute out of the 4.5 minutes or 3.5 minutes. I'll hear it for 1 minute. There'll be a couple chords of guitar and then it's gone.
Right.
And I'm like, what is this? So this again is kind of pushing the boundaries of, okay, so we've reviewed Queen and U2, and there's definitely bands that aren't heavy that we've reviewed also that are kind of more in just the rock realm. But I mean, there's some times on here where I'm like, I don't even know if this band had all songs like this, like we wouldn't, even if you liked it, like we wouldn't be doing it because it doesn't fit our format, you know? Like sometimes it's just not even rock. So some of that stuff is just hard. And maybe, like you said, maybe it's me listening to it once, maybe these songs are catchier than I think if I heard them 2 or 3, 4 times. I don't know, but first listen, I'm like, what is this? In a lot of cases, So, where's like the attitude? Where's the crunch? There's nothing. It's not anywhere on here. This is all kind of polished and fluffy, and but I did like the audience because of that. Finally, it's song 9, so finally, I'm like, some attitude. That song has some attitude to it, so I didn't mind that one, but I really didn't like much else. I didn't like Eraser. I didn't like Colors. I definitely didn't like Peace to the Mountain.
Right.
The last song. But you could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That was just not good for me at all. And I didn't hear you say that you really like that one either.
Nope,
so.
I don't.
Yeah. So this is down there for me. This is a 10. Like, I felt like, okay, I like the audience because it had some attitude. But, at least on the second album, I like the crowing, and I like the end of the song before it. Like this one, there was just one song. So this one, I'm like, almost by default have to rank this behind that one. So that one I had at 9. This I have at 10. So I have this as a D plus, number 10. There's just not much I'm going to come back and listen to here. I guess it's good for the candy pop radio rock that it is. That's just definitely not for me. At least not here, not yet. Maybe if I come back to it, like I said, but just very little attitude, and sometimes you can just leave the rock right off the candy pop radio part, so it's just weird. So I don't know why they go in that direction. It must be
Yeah.
something that their fans really like, I guess. And I mean, you like it, and you're
Yeah.
a way bigger fan than I am. So some of that stuff you do like. So it obviously is just me. I bet Jay Pundick likes that stuff too.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably does.
it's just not for me, and that's the kind of stuff I'm like. That's why I don't like these guys, because they do stuff like that. But we move on. So
We move on.
The good thing is we're going to move way further up too. So
okay, well, good to know. Ninth studio album, released October 5th, 2018. Now on Roadrunner Records, a name that's familiar to us. Also, and I don't think I mentioned it, the last two albums and going forward, now the rest of the band is not getting writing credits anymore. This is all Claudio Sanchez writing. He did all lyrics, but now he's getting all the credits for writing the music. So I don't know. That's the way it goes. But we get the ninth album and a new announced 5-part series, of which so far we have 3, which are the last.
They're going to continue this.
They are going to continue it. This is the Vaxis, whatever.
That's good news for me.
Whatever the 5 is. I know there's a quadrilogy. I don't know what a 5 is, but that's what they're doing. Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures. Didn't like this one. I'm just going to say right off the bat. When this came out, I was pretty damn disappointed. I don't like it. Was very upset when they were going into this, down this road. I would be really confused if you have this really high. There is a lot of pop.
Here we go.
A lot of pop radio stuff here.
Oh boy.
So this album starts off phenomenal. The Dark Sentencer is so good. It's literally got everything that I love about this band. The guitars are great. The guitar solos, it's all there. This is Coheed, and I was like, hell yeah. Unheavenly Creatures, it's a radio song. It's got the whole whatever first minute of it is not even guitar. It's the din 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 din. It's like the keyboard stuff, and that's a thing through this whole thing. Unheavenly Creatures, a good song. Again, it's catchy. It's just, where's the guitars? Toys is okay. It gets a little weird. This album is way too long. Number one, that it's 80 minutes, 15 songs, and most songs are 5 to 6 minutes long. It's just too much. I'm just going to get into the ones I like, other than Dark Sentencer, which I think is phenomenal. Pavilion is pretty good. The Gutter is really good, and I like Old Flames. I like the sing-alongs to those at least. Not a whole else I like on this album. This is number 9 for me. It came out, and I thought, okay, we got a new Coheed album. I've not come back to this album at all, and I'm fine with it. I don't need it. I was really down on this band. Luckily, the next album came out after this, which I think is a lot better. This, not so much for me. Like I said, number 9, it's like a C album for me. I don't come back to it other than the Dark Sentencer, which I think is really, really cool, but otherwise not my thing. Sounds like you liked it a little bit better. What did you think of the Unheavenly Creatures, Mr. H?
This album starts quite a bit better than that last garbage album did, for sure. There's even a guitar solo in the first song. So
yeah, that's about it, though.
Well, the first whole song.
Yeah, that's true.
True Ugly, I thought, kind of has a Foo Fighters kind of sound to it, less hooky than Foo Fighters, but definitely has a similar kind of sound. I did like almost all this album. Now, I'm not going to say I loved it all, but I did like this a lot more than you did, because the only song I would skip on here, and I'm sure you can guess probably what it is, it's the last one. Lucky Stars is god awful. Another terrible, terrible ballad. It's so bad. But I like pretty much all the rest of these songs. Now, this is because I feel like this is a good mix, because this is kind of radio rock to me. So this isn't it isn't the pop stuff. There's not like weird horns and like there's no like dance tunes in here, right? It's Foo Fighters ish. It's Imagine Dragons ish. You know, it's like
Sure.
that. Like it's definitely accessible, but it's all rock to me. So you know, there's not just a lot of the really goofy, dancey stuff, you know. So that's where I just felt like it's just kind of too over the top. You're crossing into a whole nother genre of music. This is still like a rock band here. Like it's the genres are progressive rock, heavy metal, hard rock, indie rock, post punk. Like it's you know, there's no I don't know, just kind of dance weird stuff in here. But the reason why I have this number one and an A minus because this is really the only album where there's only one song that I can skip. Like I like pretty much the whole thing, you know, to different degrees. So I can listen to all of it. My favorites are Dark Sentencer, like you said. I do like Heavenly Creatures. Yeah, the beginning of it is a bit boring, but you know, it kind of even though it's only 4 minutes and 14 seconds, it does kind of pick up for me, and it ends up being a memorable song where I might still want to skip the first minute of it the next time I hear it, but I will listen to the song because it sticks in my head. I like Black Sunday. Great guitar work on Black Sunday. It sounds a lot like early Deftones to me. Like this is radio rock. Like this kind of makes sense to me. Like I can listen to this. So I was kind of happy listening to this because I was like, you know, where has this been? You know, like you know, like if they had all these songs in place of some of those other weird ones, I'd like those a lot. Those albums a lot better too. You know,
Interesting.
so yeah. So
I don't think I've ever met anybody that thought that was their best album. So and it might be our biggest difference between.
oh
Your
yeah,
number-
it's a huge difference for sure. And I mean, it was hard for me between this and Volume 1 of the Apollo, you know, series, but it definitely was close, but I like more songs on this one. I mean, the first thing I wrote when I started listening to this album is I said 15 songs, and then I went to Wikipedia and I'm like 80 minutes, and I'm like, why? But when I listened to it, the only song I didn't like was Lucky Star. So there's a lot of good stuff here for me. So
all right.
that's why I really like this one. It's pretty consistent. It's not you know, other than the Dark Sentencer, there's nothing that's really kind of over the top rocks, you know. But like It Walks Among Us is another one that kind of caught my attention. I like the vocal hook in that one. Like it catches my ear, you know.
Yeah.
So I just like I said, the only one I didn't like was Lucky Star. So it's just if I like 14 songs on an album, how can I not make that number one? You know,
I get it.
Even though it sounds weird, but for me on first listen, I'm like, if I like almost the whole thing, I mean, what else can I do?
The logic adds up to me.
A minus number one for me. I don't have any A pluses for them, but I will say I like, and I mentioned it when you mentioned it earlier, I like this whole Vax's series, the whole thing, because musically it's all very similar. Like there's songs, there's a couple more I'd skip on other albums here, but I like all three of these. They're all in the top 5 for me. So
great.
This was number one, but I like the direction that they're going. This is all, even the stuff that isn't as heavy, I still like, which is good for me. I'm like, great, this is what I want, you know. So
damn, you would have loved that concert that me and Brian just went to.
I guess, right?
Because they played a lot from these
especially
3 albums.
The last, and they play 7 songs off of the most recent album. I think 7 songs.
Yeah, and 2 or 3 off of the Act 2.
Really? See, I would have liked this show, I think, except for the ballads, man. I don't know how many he did.
Not many. I don't think he did any ballads. I don't.
Dark Stars. Oh, that was another bad one. So I'm still not there with the ballads yet, and I'll continue to mention those. But my car's humming along down the highway in vacation now, dude. We're getting close to Florida or wherever we're going, man. My vacation's doing well here.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we'll hop across to the 10th studio album. Released June 24th, 2022. I don't think I really talked that much about this, and I know we're getting high up on time, so I won't spend a lot of time. But the
I got 2 left.
Yeah, the Vax's storyline.
They're all very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're all 3 of these. Basically, it's like a space romance where it's like they have
I've seen a lot of pictures of the two people like
Yes.
intertwined with the fire around them, and
That's the
Cool.
two main characters.
it's Coheed and Cambria.
No, Coheed and Cambria, they're from the first 5 records.
No, they're not even around anymore.
No,
I thought this was just like another planet of the same solar system or whatever.
So Coheed he was used as a weapon by the bad guy. Like he was injected with a virus. They they turned the virus on.
I
and he went
remember now.
crazy. Yeah, he went crazy, and he actually like tore apart a couple of the planets of that keywork.
Oh.
So the Vaxis it starts off the first record. Those planets that were kind of ripped off the keywork from Coheed, they made into like these desolate prison planets.
Oh.
So these two lovers were in like a gang, and they ended up in prison, and then it was a prison escape, whatever. But the main thing is Vaxis is their, whatever they say, the like the chosen one, like the prophecy of your child is going to be the one to save the world now, and their child is Vaxis. So that's what this is now. So the first one, he isn't born yet, but they are escaping prison. And then at some point between 1 and 2, they have this kid. The kid gets sick, and then they're on a journey to give him something to heal him and make him feel better. So that's kind of where this story goes. Obviously, it's still in progress, so we don't really know how it's going. But this Vaxis is the child and the chosen one. I guess kind of the Luke Skywalker of the of this story. Like he's the chosen one. He's the one that's going to bring balance to the Force or whatever it's called.
And that's who? What's his character's name?
Vaxis.
Oh, he is Vaxis. Okay.
Yeah, Vaxis is the child of these two. The guy with the dreadlocks.
Okay,
and then the girl. Those are the parents of Vaxis.
Girl with it's got eye patch or something.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. So, on to the Vaxis Act 2, Window of the Waking Mind, 10th album. Roadrunner again, this time produced by Claudio. It's his game now. He's writing the songs, he's producing the record. This one really hit for me just right off the bat. It's 13 songs, 53 minutes, and the first 10 songs are under 4 minutes. Like now we're talking. Like you get in there, you do some damage, and you get out, and you move to the next song. And I love that they do that in this one. And I think they got awesome, catchy, quick songs with little cool guitar riffs and stuff. I love this album. It's really, really good. It's been the one, I think, over the last however many years that snuck up my list. Shoulders, that riff is so good. It's like really, really quick. Really cool. I like The Liars Club is a really, really cool song. Comatose is cool. I really like Disappearing Act. Like to me, that's really, really good stuff. And they do this one differently, the Suite number 13, but they just make it all one song. They just make an 8-minute song, so it's all one thing. I love it. Yeah. This one is really, really good. It's got a bunch of bangers on it that I come back to a lot. This is my number 4 album overall. It just keeps creeping up every time I listen to it. It's so catchy. I like it. It's got a lot of guitar stuff. It's heavier. I like it way better than Act 1, no doubt. This one is a B plus for me, and it's just growing. I feel like it can keep going up and can go even higher. It's got some life left in it, but I was pleasantly surprised when this came out. Bunch of songs I liked. What about you? What did you think of Vaxis Act 2 Window?
This I agree with you a little bit here. This kind of picks up where the last album left off for sure, except for Lucky Stars, that being the last song of the last album. But this one for me kind of picks back up. 13 more songs, which I kind of, I felt like was a lot, but this is much shorter than the last album. This is 27 minutes shorter than the last album. So only 2 less songs, but way less shorter in time. So like you said, a lot of shorter songs, but that also kind of sucks because I know that there's not going to be a lot of cool guitar solos in there because those take time, and there's no time for them in 3.5-minute songs. You can't fit them in there. I don't feel like this is quite as good as Vaxis 1, but for me, this is still mostly good. Now, it does kind of go off the rails a little in the middle for me.
Okay.
But it does rock again at the end.
Yeah.
My favorites are Comatose and Shoulders. I wrote in here really cool guitar sound and riff in there. Like it sounds current and
Yeah.
like, you know, it's kind of, it has an effect. It's got like an effect pedal sound that like I've never heard before, and I'm like, this is fantastic. It's really loud and like in your head, you know. And it really is good. So I was like, man, that's a really cool tone and sound and really cool riff there. So, and I like some songs at the end too. Rise, Cut the Cord, I like.
Yep.
So it does pick up again at the end. Now my skippers like are love murder one, a little too weird and dance trackish for me, as I mentioned. It just kind of fits with those. And blood isn't great either. Bad Man, Our Love I didn't like either, but I honestly, Our Love is only 2.5 minutes. I can get through that without having to skip it, but I didn't like Bad Man. So there's songs like Liars Club I thought was okay. It's not one of those, but like Love Murder 1 is 6, Blood is 7, Bad Man's 9, Our Love is 10. Like there's just a chunk in the middle there where I was just like,
yeah,
it kind of lost me. But then it came back. Ladders of Supremacy, Rise, and The Window of the Waking Mind, parts of that are really kind of rock again. And I'm like, okay, you know, so this is overall is pretty good for me. This I have at number 5. Again, I don't like it as much as Vaxxus 1, which all seem to kind of rock for me except for the one song. This one's just, it's a bit lighter and more pop rock and gets a little weird and experimental sometimes. Like Blood and Bad Man are just kind of experimental weird songs. Like they don't really fit what Coheed and Cambria's sound is that I like. They don't fit that, you know, and it just sounds weird. So again, maybe that's just because I only listened to them both once. You know, maybe I'd like them more later on, but it just doesn't fit what they do for me. But it does rock again at the end, and it's still mostly listenable for me. So except for, you know, a couple of tracks there, but this is B number 5.
All right, and we'll head then to the last one, the most recent, just came out in March 14th in the year of our Lord, 2025.
In the year of our Lord.
Vaxxus Act 3, the father of make-believe. Again, that's where we leave off. Good stuff. Again, I just saw this tour, so I saw 7 songs off of it. Well, we left a little bit early, so I don't think I saw maybe a few of them. Hey, we were in Youngstown. We needed to get back. I didn't want to wait in any traffic.
Well, hopefully you missed whatever that everything, whatever that first song, Everything Evil. Hopefully you missed that one.
No, I didn't miss that one.
But, off the first album. But anyway.
But yeah, this one it obviously continues the same story with Vaxxus. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on in this one yet. There's not a whole lot out there because it's so new and people haven't really talked about what they've learned about it yet. But good stuff. I've been listening to this a lot in the car, driving around, getting ready for the show. So it's all pretty fresh in my mind. Overall, I think it's pretty good, definitely. I don't like it, obviously, as much as Vaxxus 2, but it could grow on me. Vaxxus 2 grew on me. This one, I think you know what style they're in now. I think this is what they're going to do. Like you said, more radio-friendly rock. Some great moments on here. I do think sometimes it's a little bit long on the tooth, even though I really do like the continuum 1 through 4. I actually think those are really, really good. There's a little bit in the middle where I'm like, okay, it's a little bit too much for me. I do like Goodbye Sunshine, pretty good. Searching for Tomorrow it snuck up on me because it starts off with that and it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of annoying, but once it kicks,
is that the one that sounds like it was made on the little, you know, that little keyboard,
yes, Casio.
Yeah, the little one. Yeah, that woman makes, like, she does like System of a Down and Disturbed songs, like where she hits little bowls and stuff. It plays like the melody on this tiny little keyboard.
Yes,
that's what it sounded like, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it
because it's really, really cool.
I'm like, at first, I'm like, boy, here we go. Here's another one of these, and then it rocks. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And definitely. It fits, like the melody's playing on there. I'm like, melody, there it is, and it fits in the song. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yep. Title track's pretty good. Blindside Sunny is cool. I like that song. That's the one where they brought out this big ass thing behind the drums, and it's like a brain with spikes on it with these glasses. Like, really that's cool. pretty damn cool. But I like Blindside Sunny. It's a cool little rockin' tune, only 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and it's just guitars and we want blood. Yeah, give us some. I really, really, it's catchy. But there's some great moments on here. Like I said, the kind of the middle part, like Play the Poet and One Last Miracle, like that's kind of where I'm like, I'm like, okay. But I like the Continuum 4-part. I think it really closes the album really good. This is a number 7 for me, so it's right in the middle. But again, it's brand new. I feel like it has time to move up. It's just there's that lull in the middle of it for me. I think it starts off really good, and I think it ends really good. It's just that middle part. Maybe I'll grow to like it. I don't quite love the middle parts there yet. But what did you think of Vaxis Act 3?
Another 14 songs, almost an hour here. Kind of starts with a whimper, though. But song 2, Goodbye Sunshine, picks it up quite a bit. And it continues at a really great pace for the next couple songs, too, until we get to Mary of Mercy. Then it just comes to kind of a crashing halt. So, I didn't like yesterday's loss, but then Goodbye Sunshine I liked, and then Searching for More I really liked. The Father of Make Believe I really, really liked.
Yep.
And then Mary of Mercy just kind of craps the bed for me there. Play the Poet. Play the Poet is a nice little rap rock kind of new metal song, but I do dig it. I do dig that song. So I like that one a lot. And please give me more Blindside Sunny, dude.
Yes.
Give me more.
Yep.
I need more Blindside Sunny. Where the F has that been in their whole catalog?
Yeah.
That song really rocks. So I love Father of Make Believe and Blindside Sunny. I'm like, I'm going to listen to this album a whole lot more. So this one I feel like is not going to do it justice from one listen for me. And guess what? I finally found a ballad that I like.
That you like. Okay.
Corner
Which one?
My Confidence.
Okay.
I like. It's finally a ballad by them I kind of like. I don't love it. It's not one of my favorites, but I'm like, finally, I found a ballad. It's almost all acoustic guitar. It's kind of just Claudio singing. There's no harmonies in there. It kind of picks up a little towards the end, but it goes back to the acoustic guitar again. It's a cool little guitar riff. It's just a guy and his guitar. He's kind of singing a little lower, a little more somber, not way out there. I just like the song. Like lyrically, it's good. It's got a little hook in there. Like I do really, I kind of like that song. I feel like it's one of those ones I listened to it once and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like one.
Excellent.
And I think listening to that song more, I think I'm going to like it more.
Okay.
So I do like Continuum 1, Mr. Nobody. The whole Continuum suite I kind of do like, but the end of Continuum 4, So It Goes, like that one's kind of the weakest of the 4. And the end of it, like the last minute and a half, it sounds like closing credits to like a sci-fi superhero movie. It's just if you listen to it, and I'm telling you, you'll see credits rolling through your head when you listen to it, because that's what it sounds like. The song kind of stops, and then there's like a minute and a half of this. Just I feel like it's a sci-fi movie credits going, just kind of orchestral, sort of, no vocals. And the So It Goes kind of part, like I didn't really care for the singing that was there. I was like, I don't know if I really like this that much, but I do like it overall, because that kind of winds it down and ends it. So the credits kind of do fit, because it's the last song on the album, and it's the end of this suite. If you're making a movie, that's what you would have there. It's credits and the music playing over it. That's kind of what it sounds like. So I don't hate it, but it's the weakest of those 4 in the suite for me. I did not like Mary of Mercy, another one. And Yesterday's Lost is just a boring way to start a rock album, man. Yeah. It's just, there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh man, like to start the album.
You started the show with it too.
No, that I can kind of understand though, as like an intro or, to start a show that way is a little different live than it is an album where I'm coming off of a couple albums that rock pretty hard, and the end of the one before it was rocking pretty good, and then I went right into this, and I'm like, man, this is the first song in this one? So I didn't care for it, like I don't care for a lot of their ballads, so maybe that's part of it too, is just that it's the first song. I'm like, man, I'm like, I need this one to really kind of pick up where the last one left off, but then it did. So I didn't have as much problem in the middle of this one as you did. I like everything after the first song except for Mary of Mercy. So
Okay.
I have this as number 3 overall.
Okay.
This is a B plus, really solid. But really it's very good outside of the one song from the first one until the last. So, and then the very end, like I said, it's just the weakest of that suite, but I didn't really dislike So It Goes that much, but
Right.
really solid album. I'm going to listen to this one again, and it kind of makes me look forward to Vaxxus 4, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and it's
Well-
kind of sucks. This one just came out. It's going to
I
be a
know.
while.
Well-
Probably going to be 3 years, 2 years,
Yeah,
3 years.
probably
It's been
2,
3
yeah.
since their last one, and 4 before the one before that.
Yeah.
So it'll be 3.5 probably. So.
Yeah. They're not young guys anymore either.
No,
Who knows?
Well, they're younger than me. They're probably maybe same age as you or
Probably
so.
same age as me. Yeah.
That's what I would guess. But
All right,
yeah,
partner.
definitely come into their own. These 3 albums for me, the best together by far for me. I like the Apollo ones too, but these 3 I really like. So they found a spot for me where I'm like, okay, this I can listen to. I should have went to that concert.
Yeah.
But what can you
Bummer.
do? But again, the other thing is I'm not a big Mastodon fan though either. So I mean, when we saw them do Leviathan, that's their best one pretty much. Most people that maybe aren't huge fans of theirs will agree that's their best one or their most popular one, right? So kind of the one that put them on the map. But so I've seen all of that with you, but I don't really care for a lot of their other stuff. So if they were doing a set where they're just playing kind of songs from a bunch of different albums, I probably wouldn't have really cared for it that much anyway. So, and I already know we've already done them, and I know that I don't really like them. Now I like these guys a little bit more, and I'm like, these guys were headlining, right? So I'm like, man, I kind of wish I would have went to that now. So,
well, they haven't come to Cleveland for this record yet. So if they come to Cleveland, I'm gonna call you up and say, let's go check out some Coheed. And they'll probably be playing 6 or 7 songs off this record. So I will let you know. They did,
right? This is the most recent one, right? They played.
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying, though. If they don't always, for other legs, they may not play the same exact set list. So, but so yeah. But if they come to Cleveland, if they come to the Agora or something,
I got you.
I'm gonna take
because it was in Youngstown. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when bands come through here, if they play Toledo, Youngstown, they don't normally come here after.
Right?
Usually not even on another leg because they're like, well, we already played there. It's all the same area to them, right? Just cornfields, and then there's a town. Like, they're like, whatever.
Yes and no, especially like smaller bands like this. And I consider this a smaller band. Like you said, they're under 2 million listens.
Yep.
On
like
Spotify. So
or something.
I feel like they make their rounds a little
bit
bit more.
Blues still,
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, partner, what do you got for your 11-1 for Coheed and Cambria?
Okay, bottom of the barrel here, real easy for me. Second Stage, Turbine Blade, number 11. Color Before the Sun, easy number 10 for me. Number 9, In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. Number 8, Year of the Black Rainbow. Number 7, The Afterman Ascension. Number 6, The Afterman Descension. Number 5, Vaxxus 2, A Window of the Waking Mind. Number 4, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star Volume 2. Number 3, Vaxxus 3, Father of Make Believe, which is rising up the charts. I like that one a lot.
Yep.
And number 2, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star Volume 1. That's where they got me pretty much. And I'm like, yep, okay, this I can listen to. And Vaxxus 1, The Heavenly Creatures, I have as number 1. Like I said, 14 songs out of 15 I really like. That's also the album, I don't think I mentioned, that's also the album where like 5 of the tracks for the first 30 seconds to a minute of 5 of those songs, at least, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I ended up liking all 5 of them. So I'm like, I just got to stop thinking that way, so because they picked up later. So anyhow, that's my number 1. I just like so many songs off of it. Obviously, I like more songs better off of Vaxxus 3 than I like off of Vaxxus 1. So that one could make its way up to number 1 for me. I just liked more of it in total. So Vaxxus number 1 for me.
All right. Number 11, we are in agreement. And that's about the only place we're in agreement, but that's okay. Number 11, Second Stage, Turbine Blade. Just not my thing. Number 10, Year of the Black Rainbow. Again, not my thing. Number 9, The Unheavenly Creatures, which is Vaxxus Act 1. 8, Color Before the Sun. 7 is Vaxxus 3, Father of Make Believe. Number 6 is The Afterman Ascension. Number 5, In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. Number 4, I had Vaxis 2, Window of the Waking Mind. Number 3, I had the Afterman Descension. Number 2, I had Apollo Volume 1, Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. And number 1, I had Apollo Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. That is my favorite. And still love it to this day. So that's my 11-1. Your 11-1. And that's it for Coheed and Cambria. Nicely done, partner. I appreciate you going through that. That's probably not an easy one, but I'm glad you found some stuff that you really liked from there. So
yeah, it was pleasurable half the time.
Yeah, once you got going, it was better.
Yeah, and then there's hit or miss in there, but sure. Yeah, after the first 2, it really wasn't that bad. There was 2 in there that I was really like, okay, I don't really care for these that much, but they still weren't as bad as the first 2. So
sure,
And then there was stuff in there, like I said, that I really like, and I'm kind of pumped now that I really like. I have these last 3 albums all in my top 5. So
right,
yeah, that's a positive thing, especially coming off of this one that I really liked. A lot of songs on here. There's some heavier stuff on here. I'm like, thank you.
Arrows pointing up, unlike all of our Cleveland teams. Those are pointing down.
Yeah, right.
That's good. But
we got Shadur.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Jay Pundick. I know we are not in agreement, especially you with my partner, but thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, we're allowed to disagree.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you didn't leave after that.
Yeah.
And where's Brian and John?
They must not.
I thought Brian would be here, honestly. But
Brian
I thought he was pretty pumped about it.
Brian's on vacation, I think. I think Brian's out of the country, I think.
Speaking of vacation.
Yeah, speaking of vacation, I won't be on next week, so my partner will not be, likely, unless he's going to tackle a band by himself. Likely, probably not, right? No,
probably not.
But
you never know.
Never know. If you get frisky and you want to hop on, we'll see you on there. So we won't be on.
Do a half hour.
We'll be on 2 weeks from tonight. And what band is next for us?
We are doing Corrosion of Conformity next. So we did CNC Music Factory today, and we're doing COC in 2 weeks. So
good old Pepper Keenan and the Corrosion of Conformity boys.
Pepper Keenan, not at first though. As I found out, wow. Yeah. Well, I kind of knew that, but boy, wow.
Yeah. So, I don't know a whole lot from.
I've already started.
Did you?
So yeah, just today because I finished this up, and I'm like, I got a little bit of time. I'm still working, So I'm like, what? I'm like, you know what? I'll just put the beginning of Corrosion on and just check that out. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Not what I.
More to come on that one. So, but yeah.
All right.
So 2 weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks. Corrosion of Conformity. So looking forward to that. So we will see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening. As always, leave a comment, subscribe. Even if you don't agree with us, we'd love to hear what you think of.
Call us clowns, please. Oh, it was so much fun.
Fine. You know what? I'm just happy that anybody's listening. So.
I've been called it all, so call me whatever. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
Same here. Yeah, just tell us how you feel, and I will just probably say I appreciate you.
Yep, just
really
like you did.
Yep, I do.
I do too.
Tell me.
I might come back with I might argue with you a little bit, but yeah, I appreciate it all the same.
All right. Well, again, thanks for listening. Please please subscribe. We'll see you in a few weeks in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.